Good afternoon, Chris Parnell. Welcome back on VH Berries.
Thank you, Victor. I'm glad to be back.
I am extremely grateful because the outdoor courtyard of your imagination has no off-season, with every syllable pointing into a single court, which adds a powder of mustard, lingering like an elusive memory on the lonely island. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Victor. Thank you. How are you doing?
I am also doing good, and mustard is a condiment made from plant seeds. And 2 Sundays ago, it was also the top line of your A1 performance in New York City.
Thank you, Victor. Yeah, that was. I didn't even know at the time when I saw the score. I didn't know what that was a reference to. So Andy Samberg had to explain it to me.
Absolutely, you didn't knew the specific reference from the Kendrick Lamar song, and I would love to discuss about that very specific event. Can you tell us a little bit more about performing that musical part at the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary with a segment called The Lonely Island Musical Medley Live?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. Andy Samberg texted me, I don't know, probably a week, maybe a week and a half before the concert, which was on February 14th, 2025, Valentine's Day, at Radio City Music Hall, celebrating 50 years of Saturday Night Live music. And, The Lonely Island, which is Andy Samberg, Akiva Schaffer, and Jorma Taccone, are The Lonely Island. And they have written a lot of songs over the years that they put in their video shorts, their digital shorts on SNL. So it was only right that be included, that medley be included as a part of the musical celebration of the show. Andy texted me like a week and a half before and said, would you be up for doing a bit of Lazy Sunday in this performance thing? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay. And then as it got into the week of the show, or close to the week of the show, I got contacted by one of the producers from New York, Erin David, and she's like, when can you fly out? And so we figured all the logistics out. And it wasn't until I got there, I guess I got there on Wednesday. I got there on Wednesday night, the 12th. And because on Thursday we were doing the rehearsal, the music rehearsal, and then Friday was going to be the dress rehearsal. But it was good to get in there early, and I was glad I did, to do the music rehearsal. So it wasn't until I was in this rehearsal hall in Radio City Music Hall, and the musical director, David, showed me, the score, basically, of the medley. And it was only then that I realized, there's a lot more than just Lazy Sunday in this piece, and that it involves, I'd heard that Lady Gaga was involved, and then it turns out Eddie Vedder was involved, and it turns out Bad Bunny was involved. So that was pretty cool to see. And that day, basically, we worked with a choreographer, not that Andy or I had a lot of choreography other than just walking down the center of the stage at the right time. Went over all the musical aspects and the bit of choreography. And then Friday, we had a full dress rehearsal on the Radio City stage. And, it took a little longer than the actual show because you're just trying to work out kinks and things like that. But it went pretty well. And then, then that night, we did the real thing, and I think it went pretty well. It seemed like everybody, was happy with it, and it was very cool that Andy asked me, and he gave me the cool mustard moment. which I did appreciate after I looked it up. Appreciated the significance of it. He's like, "Did you watch the Super Bowl halftime show?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Okay, well, if you had," and the funny thing is, my son already knew the song. He knew what it was a reference to. But yeah, no, I was just happy it went smoothly, and it was very cool to be up there on stage with Andy and Lady Gaga and Eddie Vedder and T-Pain and Bad Bunny, and then I got to go out into the audience afterward and watch it. Will Ferrell and I shared a dressing room, which was great. That was a lot of fun. I haven't seen Will in a while, so it was nice to visit with him and catch up. And then Anna Gasteyer came into the dressing room with a keyboardist and Paul Appel, who wrote the piece. I should say for Bobby and Marty Mohan Culp. Or Marty and Bobby Mohan Culp, I think that's it. The Culps and their musical medley number they did during the Radio City concert. But so they came in and rehearsed, which was fun to see because I love Anna too, and Paula, and I've known them forever. Anna longer than anybody probably, but yeah. And then I got to sit on the audience, and I was in the house right section in front of the right side, the house right stage where Nirvana performed, and several other fantastic acts. So I got to be right there in front of that, in front of those amazing performances, and it was pretty darn cool.
Absolutely, Chris Parnell. And on that stage, you were in very good company with, of course, the 4 dancers in cupcake costumes, which each one featuring a golden yellow wrapper on the bottom half and a glittery pink frosting like design on top.
Yeah, and Jorma Taccone, I should have mentioned, was up there too. As anybody who watched it saw, he was one of the cupcakes. Shot Andy with a laser cat, and yeah, it was it was fun to be up there with both of them.
It was a very special moment, Chris Parnell, and those 4 cupcakes might have been strategically placed on both lateral sides of you to fully protect Thomas Christopher Parnell from these suspicious ketchup supporters, of which we reckon there are 5 in the East Coast.
Yeah, you're probably right. They were like my security guards. Yeah.
They were your security guard, and I am very intrigued by the fact that you didn't try to take one of those cupcakes on your way home to Los Angeles to protect yourself from those ketchups advocates.
I probably should have, Victor. If I'd been thinking better of it, I probably should have taken a security guard cupcake with me. But that wasn't in their contract, so they were just contracted to be there during the show, and I had to take my chances.
You didn't took your chance, Chris Parnell. And when you joined SNL back in September of 1998 as part of season 24, the show was 23 years old, which means that since you joined, it has aged by 2.17 times. But the jokes that you made didn't. Unlike the peanut butter celery sticks brought by Erica in the feature film Micro Budget.
Oh, okay. I wondered where you were going with that.
I am going towards a very specific comedy called Micro Budget. Can you tell us a little bit more about it and about that untitled movie project called Untitled Meteor Movie?
Well, you can only see what you see in micro budget in terms of what they're trying to make. But for folks who haven't seen it, it's about a very, very small budget film that these filmmakers are trying to make. It's primarily this guy and his wife and their team, and it's the movie itself, the real movie. Was also a micro-budget project, and I think Morgan, who directed it, and I think he did such a wonderful job of bringing everybody together and making something that was really funny, without spending a lot of money. But yeah, they this group of people trying to make this low-budget movie comes in and rents my house. And then I found out they've done some damage, and I come in and I'm the upset homeowner, and then Maria Bamford plays my wife, and she gets involved, and it's been a while since I did it, so my memory of all of it is not that clear. But yeah, it was just like a day of shooting for me. But they had a great cast, and yeah, I think it came out really, really well.
They had a great cast. Chris Parnell, including you, and this is one of the best piece of art and one of the funniest that I have seen in the past 3 years and a half. And I am very curious about the creative process from first discovering the script to then putting Toby's anger in front of the camera lens.
Well, I think if I remember correctly, I got an email from my agent, and they, I think it was an offer. I didn't have to audition, so that's always nice when that happens. And I read it, and I thought, oh, this is in my wheelhouse. This is something I can do, and so I learned my lines and I worked on it a bit, and it wasn't the kind of part I had to do a big reach for, playing a put upon middle-aged man. I might have gone a little overboard with my reaction, but yeah, it was, like I said earlier, it was, I think, one day of shooting for me at this gorgeous house. Gosh, where was it? I hate to think. It might have been in Pacific Palisades, or it might have been in Santa Monica. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was a fun shoot, and got to work with some cool people.
Absolutely, Chris Parnell. That part was precisely in your wheelhouse, and you are teaching important life lessons about protecting antique kitchen tables with a simple object called a coaster, which is a small tray or mat placed under a bottle or a glass to protect the surface underneath.
You are correct, sir. You are correct. Yeah, so it doesn't get condensation. And make a ring on the table. Yeah, it's important to use your coasters.
It is important to use your coaster, and one other element besides your anger in front of the screen playing Toby is also the costumes and the clothes that you were wearing that were brought by Laura Wheeler with a soft pink polo, midnight black cardigan, beige trousers, brown leather belt, and also a gold bracelet on the hand to add a whisper of opulence. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Well, I vaguely remember that I wore a pink shirt and that I had I think a sweater over my shoulders. But your description of it was much more detailed than I could ever provide or remember. But yeah, you're right about, I guess there was a bracelet I had on to show that we had some money, which was, help serve the plot along there. But yeah, I'm trying to remember, but I don't even think I had to go in for a fitting. I think I just went early on the day of my shoot to get fitted. And then I don't know if they made any alterations or not, but the costume department usually reaches out and ask you for your sizes before you get there. And they try to pull the appropriate pieces of clothing that you'll need for that day's shoot. And, but yeah, they picked out, some good stuff that was perfect for that guy. And I'm pretty easy to please in the clothing department and in the wardrobe department as long as it fits me, as long as it's not too, doesn't swallow me or isn't uncomfortably tight, or shows my gut too much or anything like that. So, yeah.
Absolutely, Chris Parnell. You're easy to please when it comes to the closet department. And furthermore, this feature film, I believe, represents the culmination of more than 3 decades and a half of making comedy. What lessons have you learned from the anatomy of a joke?
Ooh. Well, I'm not the best at telling jokes, Victor, for starters. Let's be clear about that. I don't know what I can tell you about the anatomy of a joke. It usually involves surprise, I guess, a surprise twist that you didn't see coming. But in terms of playing it as an actor, at the end of the day, I just try to remember to be in the moment as much as I can with the other actors and not get caught up in trying to, worry about making it funny. Sometimes I do find myself pushing myself that way, and I have to pull back, and I sometimes I'm more successful at pulling back than others. But for me, it's going to be much funnier if you don't see the actor trying to be funny. If you just see them in the moment, acting out the scene, and if it's written well, and directed well, and if you do your part well, the comedy will come out of the writing and the situation. As opposed to trying to, sell a particular joke or be funny or anything like that. It's the difference. I mean, I've seen in the past, there's a host who I will not name that I'm thinking of, who was an actor not known for comedic work. And when I watched the show, this is years before my time, even before my time on the show, you could tell they thought they were funny and they were trying to be funny. And it was not funny. I think people who are, have a certain talent for comedy, know instinctively, that to try to put yourself out there as funny or be funny in an overt way is usually a comedy killer. So, yeah, I don't know. That's a long-winded answer. And nothing about the anatomy of a joke. I'm sorry, Victor.
Absolutely, Chris Parnell. The anatomy of a joke remains a mystery and a very unexplored science. And in micro budget, you are meeting a character named Rick, played by Bobby Moynihan. And as we don't know his last name, it could also be a Rick Sanchez from another dimension.
He looks a little different than Rick Sanchez, but oh, Bobby's amazing. He's so great.
Absolutely, Bobby is amazing, and I would love to explore a sitcom called Rick and Morty because since we last spoke on March 26th of 2022, the season 6 was about to come out and was then followed by season 7. Can you tell us a little bit more about those past years?
Excuse me. You know, Victor, I don't know how much I can tell you because I don't remember that much. It's been quite a while since we recorded those episodes. I guess it's been 3 years or so. And yeah, I don't. You know, some of the cast like Spencer and Harry and Ian, who are now playing Rick and Morty wonderfully, amazingly well, I might add. They are a little more students of the show than I. I watch the show. I always watch, you know, the show we make, and I'm excited to see it because usually by the time I see it, I've forgotten it, you know. But I know Spencer went back and watched all the episodes at a certain point to familiarize herself, and I think Harry and Ian were fans of the show way before they got on, and so they know the story well. I cannot claim to know the individual episodes as well because they kind of blur in my mind. There are a few, you know, that I had a little more to do in that stand out to me, but yeah, getting into specifics about the end of season 6, the beginning of season 7, I couldn't tell you anything. If there's particular episodes you want to ask about, I might remember something, but you know, I don't have a great memory, Victor. I'm a terrible subject for an interview like this.
Absolutely, Chris Parnell. And I remember that last time you told me that the voiceover work was done before the animation, so it is completely normal to not have a clear visualization of all the past episodes. And what I've remembered from those past 2 seasons is that your character, called Jerry Smith, is going from being an outsider within the family to gaining more respect and confidence from the house, but also from the other Jerrys.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Jerry's respect level rises and falls with with each episode and each season, but you know, that's part of what makes Jerry funny, hopefully, you know, is the way that he is put upon by his family and others.
Absolutely, Chris Parnell. This is an interesting perspective, and I am wondering if from the very beginning of season 1, the sitcom changed your perspective on being a father yourself.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think being a father myself might have informed my performance somewhat, but I don't think the show influenced my parenting at all. Hopefully not. Even though Jerry's not a bad dad. Rick's a bad dad, but Jerry's a pretty decent enough father. I try to be a better father than Jerry. Let's put it that way.
If I understood correctly, Chris Parnell, you're trying to be a better father than Jerry Smith, and you are going to have a breath of memory back very soon in the middle of March because you are soon going to be in Dublin for a very specific convention. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, it's Dublin Comic-Con, that I'm really looking forward to. I've been to Dublin once before to do Celebrity Name That Tune TV show, which actually shoots in Dublin. But I didn't get to really see much. I don't know how much I'm going to get to see of Dublin this time because I've got two young sons, and when I go out of town, that leaves a lot of responsibility on my wife's shoulders. So I try not to linger out of town any longer than I need to for the particular job, or like with last weekend for Saturday Night Live. I mean, she's fully supportive and wanted me to do it all and experience it and enjoy it. But I also, like with going to Dublin this time, I think Ian and Harry and their wives, well, Ian's wife, Harry's girlfriend, Marissa, they are, I think, all going to Ireland early, so they're going to have some time to just enjoy it as a vacation. They don't have children yet. Or they might not want children. I don't know. I shouldn't speak for them. But, and then Spencer's son is even a little older than my son, my older son. And so anyway, this is a long-winded answer. I am going there, and I know that Ian and Steve Levy, gosh, Steve, I apologize. I don't know which way you pronounce your name. He's one of the producers on Rick and Morty. And he's in touch with people at Lighthouse Studios in Kilkenny, I think, Ireland. And Ian and Harry are going to go down there, or try to go down there for a visit with the animation studio. I may go, but it's happening the day after I get in from traveling a long ways from Los Angeles. So we'll see. Anyway, it's a Comic-Con, and I'm going there with those other three fine people representing Rick and Morty, but not in an official capacity. We just go on our own, and we've been doing a lot of these cons together, and they do even more than I do. They do a ton of them, but it's been really fun. This is just something. These conventions are something I started to do within the last couple of years, I guess. And, there's not much to dislike about them, because you go there and people come up to you and tell you how much, they like your work, or specifically what they like or what had meaning to them. And then they, get pictures with you or autographs and things like that, and you make a little money. So it's really validating, and it's a great one-on-one experience with the fans that you don't get any other way. Even at a regular Comic-Con, like the big ones like San Diego or New York, you're not typically interacting directly with the fans. Maybe if there's a signing, but still pretty limited, So this is a way to really interact with folks, and it's a very nice experience.
Absolutely, Chris Parnell. You're looking forward to meet those people and to, why not, share more wisdom about the coasters protecting antique kitchen table and all of that while you're in the midst of recording season 9. And we already know today about the season 12 that has been confirmed for the year 2029.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, we would all love to just keep doing the show forever, as long as they'll let us. And we feel very lucky to be on a show that is so beloved and, has been on this amount of time and has, hopefully many, many more seasons to go.
As long as they let Jerry Smith gain more and more confidence and respect. And another project that I am really enjoying is a feature film called As We Know It, in which you're playing Ted Summers, a very enthusiastic reporter. Can you tell us a little bit more about that piece of art?
Well, that was another case of it being an offer, I believe. And, it's very similar in terms of the scope of it to Micro Budget. I went in one day and we shot a lot of me doing the newscaster stuff direct to camera, and then went outside and shot the stuff of me with the zombie, attacking the guy and commenting on that, which was, some of it was written, a lot of it was, improvised, but probably the best stuff that made it is the stuff that was written. But yeah, it was fun. Again, it was just I think that might have been a 2-day shoot for me. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was a 2-day shoot in which you played a scene in the Hollywood Hills in the late 90s, playing a reporter, handling a microphone branded 11 LA 22. Very similar to television anchor and reporter Rick Blackwell from Jupiter, Florida, the father of Taylor Lily Blackwell, who is also playing Emily in that project.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that about her dad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You didn't knew about Rick Blackwell, and this makes even more sense as you also play, besides that scene outside, another one in a television set as you are presenting the daily news.
Yes, I don't remember what the news was, but I remember shooting it.
In conclusion, I am looking forward to pair my next entree with this Canadian mustard while seeing you move your craft from unroofed area to a cave full of derelict ideas waiting to be polished off to the rhythm of your slender diction. Thank you very much, Christopher Thomas Parnell.
Thank you, Victor. It's Thomas Christopher Parnell, but yes, I go by Chris, obviously. But thank you. It was a pleasure.